Obama says he's going to use the GM bailout as the model, the template for future industrial policy in his second term. Good Lord. That's what we'll talk about at lunch today. Every once in a while, this guy lets slip and you get a sense of what he really has in store for this country. He actually said that he regards the GM case study as being a model for how the administration should interact with business. Ooh. Well, there are a couple of small problems with that, sir. First of all, GM's profits are down 41% this quarter, which reflects an inability to compete in the European market. Secondly, the American taxpayers lost $31 billion in this bailout that they will never, ever see back under the most wildly optimistic of scenarios. Thirdly, out of the 220,000 jobs that General Motors has, employees, 160,000 of them work outside the United States. The U.S. labor force is only about a third of their total labor force. And finally, look at what happened in the GM bailout. You took people's pension money that was invested in General Motors stock, and you declared it essentially worthless. You gave them pennies on the dollar and gave them stock in a defunct old General Motors Corporation that's of all the old models and no factories and just basically a junk heap. And instead, you gave prime position to the United Auto Workers. This precedent of junking the pensioners, junking the stockholders, and raising up the employees is the exact opposite of what American business has always been about. And if that becomes the template, if that becomes the norm, first of all of our pension funds will go broke. And secondly, who on earth would invest money in GM stock or in any stock? The entire stock market, our basic system of capitalizing business, would go wrong. Now, Richard Murdoch, who is now the Republican nominee for Senate in Indiana, having defeated Lugar, was the state treasurer of Indiana. And on behalf of the Indiana pension funds, he brought a lawsuit against Obama over the GM bailout because his pensioners in the Indiana pension system were being shortchanged. And the Supreme Court ruled in his favor. They set that up as the standard law that this would be illegal in the future, but they allowed it in this case under some procedural ruling. But to call that a template is ridiculous. Look, France has gone down that road. In 1945, when de Gaulle took over in France, he decided that the key to recovery was to have one French car company, Renault, one French bank, one French steelmaker, one French drug company, and so forth. And he put all of the state subsidies into that one company and built it up and discouraged competition in the domestic market. And that became the model for French post-war economic development. And it worked great for about 20 years. And then what always happens, happened. The one company got ossified, uncreative, didn't come up with new designs and new ideas. And now the future of the automobile market is obviously German, Japanese, and to some extent Italian, but definitely not French. And that's because of this policy. In fact, all of the French economy became stagnated as a result of that. You can't go around picking winners and losers. And if you do that, you're going to guess wrong. You're going to stifle innovation. You'll stop small business from creating jobs. You'll fall behind the curve. It happened in Japan. It happened in France. Happened in Italy. And with Obama, it would happen in the United States, to say nothing of the burden on the taxpayers of making this kind of subsidy. You know, the best case study of not doing this is China, where 60% of their GDP is in these useless, inefficient, bankrupt state companies that hire workers to produce stuff nobody wants and essentially is just a drain on the economy. That's as opposed to them being unemployed and getting welfare. They have them make stuff that nobody wants to buy. What carries China is the 40%. That's the capitalist private sector, just the kind of thing that Obama would probably eliminate. So if you needed another reason to vote against Obama, that'll give you one. Thanks for watching.